What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Double B here, back with another video. Before we get started, as always, I'd appreciate it if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe. Since today is going to be December 2nd, you can just comment the number 2. It just helps with the algorithm, helps more people see this video. And before we get into Monday Night Football's picks, we'll just do a recap on how we did on Sunday. So the video picks, they did go 4-2. I did have some added plays that they didn't go too well. I had Barkley's receiving yards ladder. I had Cade Stover over in his receiving yards, and I also had a Addison Mitchell receiving yards prop ladder that did not hit. But I did have Tommy Tremble, which his receiving yards hit pretty sweat-free. But so that kind of made the whole day about a little red for us. We were close on a few parlays as well that could have turned the day around, but fortunately, like a lot of one-leg losses. But we'll do a quick recap of the video plays, and then we'll get started on the Monday Night Football picks. So, first play that I had was Marvin Harris over 3.5 receptions. That cashed. Joe Mixon over 80.5 yards. That cashed. Tony Pollard over 66.5 rush yards. That did not cash, unfortunately. Tennessee got down late, and they had to throw the ball the whole game, basically. So that kind of stunk there. Bucky Irving crushed his line over at 54.5 rush yards. Another guy crushed his line, Alvin Kamara, over 65.5 rushing yards. And the other play that we did miss was Cooper Kupp over 64.5 receiving yards. So, yeah, those are the plays. Like I said, it was 4-2 with those video picks, and like I said, a couple add-on plays kind of brought us down a little bit, put us in the red. You know, nothing crazy, nothing we can't recover from. Which, you know, we will do that. Plan on doing that on Monday Night Football. So for Monday Night Football, I have 3 picks so far. I have 3 player props. I also have a lotto touchdown play that I will get to in a minute, but before we get into that, I will cover the first 3 player props here. So the first play here is going to be Jerome Ford over 11.5 receiving yards. So Cedric Tillman is, out for this game. And I like that because I do think there's more targets to go around. And I think Jerome Ford, obviously he's a running back, but he's really their only receiving running back that they have. And it's a good matchup for him. The Broncos do allow the 4th most receiving yards and receptions to running backs. So, he doesn't have the best hit rate. He hasn't hit this number, 11.5, in a couple of games. But he's had games this year where he has shown flashes of him being able to, catch the ball and be, useful in the backfield. Nick Chubb is not a receiving running back. They're not going to really be throwing the ball to him. So if there are going to be passes coming out of the backfield, I do think it will be finding Jerome Ford, not Nick Chubb. And again, 11.5 receiving yards. He can get that 1 catch, but I do think he should get a couple targets, hopefully a couple catches, and he should be able to clear this number. Yeah. That's the first play. The next play is going to be the same side of the ball, but it's going to be an under. So on Nick Chubb, under 56.5 rush yards. So I don't bet too many unders, but I did do this here because I just think this line is a bit inflated. Usually I like to jump on lines that are deflated after bad performances, but this one I believe is just a bit inflated to me after last week. So yeah, last week he did have 59 rush yards, but it was on 20 carries. I don't see that happening. I don't really see him coming close to 20 carries. I mean, his rush attempt line is set at 15.5 rush attempts, and it's juiced to the under, so they're thinking he's going to get like 15 carries, which I can see that around, somewhere in the mid-teens, where I do believe he will get that type of volume. And it's a terrible matchup for him. I mean, the Broncos, they're elite defense overall, but they're very good against the run. They allow the 7th fewest rush yards to running backs on the season. And before last week, in his 4 games back since returning from injury, he had 22, 52, 39, and 50 rush yards. So I don't think, I don't see in this matchup as well, I don't see him going over this line. I mean, I just, again, a lot of factors where I just don't see it happening. I do think the Browns should be playing from behind as well, so I think they're going to have to abandon the run, especially they're on the road. So I don't think it's a good spot for Nick Chubb here. So I like his under at 56.5 rush yards. My last player prop here is going to be Bo Nix over 19.5 rushing yards. So another guy that hasn't hit this line in the last 3 games, but I think this will change for Monday night. So he's going up against the Browns, of course, and they have the 5th highest sack percentage in the NFL. They get to the quarterback quite a bit. They have pretty good pass rush, Myles Garrett. And when that typically happens, that forces the quarterback out of the pocket and forces them to scramble. And we know he has that mobility and he can move with the ball. So the Browns, because of that reason, typically, like I said, it leads to quarterbacks scrambling, and the Browns allow the 7th most rush yards to quarterbacks. And Bo Nix, like I said, he's shown that he can move with the ball on the ground, where 4 games this year he's had 47 rush yards, 61 rush yards, 75 rush yards, and 36 rushing yards. So with this matchup, I do think it's definitely a good chance. I think it's time for him to, get back to moving around the pocket, scrambling a little bit, and I think he can, pick up the 20 yards. Not a lot. He get that one rush really, but I think he'll have multiple opportunities. I think to run around with the ball. So yeah, I think Cleveland, like I said, they have their good pass rush, and it's gonna force Bo Nix out of the pocket. So I really like Bo Nix rush yards. I don't mind his passing yards either, honestly. But with the number we're getting here with the rush yards, I just pivoted towards that. So my last play here will be the touchdown lotto. So I pretty much played this guy straight, and I played him for 2+ touchdowns, which this will be Josh Reynolds. So as you see here, his anytime touchdown is plus 700, and his 2 touchdowns is plus 10,000. So you're never going to get these odds from him again. So coming into this year, he was the Broncos' number 2 receiver, and he played a few weeks. He already has a touchdown this season. He had a 93-yard game. He had like a 50-yard receiving game with Bo Nix, and this was, again, early in the year. This was the first couple games of Bo Nix's career. And, they seem to have good chemistry. Like I said, they had a 93 receiving yard game. He caught a touchdown in his last game. And he was injured, yes, but he actually got shot in some club. So he's been out this whole time. But this week he did practice. He had 3 full participants in practice. So he's definitely on track to return. And I do believe he's going to play. Obviously, if he doesn't play for whatever reason, this gets voided, so it doesn't matter. But, none of his receiving yards lines props aren't out yet. Nowhere. And FanDuel is actually the only book right now that I can find his touchdowns scoring odds. I'm sure the other books will eventually, drop it shortly after. I don't know about his receiving yard line. I guess it just depends where it's at if I would play that. I don't know, because I don't know if he's going to be limited to some capacity, but maybe he won't be. I'm not sure. It depends what number it's going to come out. Of course, if I add any more plays, I always add them in the pinned comments, and of course I post them to my Twitter. But yeah, it's worth sprinkling. I'm only putting a quarter unit on his anytime touchdown. I'm putting 0.15 units on his 2 touchdowns. So again, it's a very light sprinkle. I'm not even risking a half. I'm risking 0.4 units on this total. But I just thought it's definitely worth a shot. I mean, of course, if he scores 1 touchdown, you profit, and if he scores 2 touchdowns, it's a very good night. So you would win. As you see here, this is why I put it as a quarter and 15 cents. You'd win 15 units if he scores 2 touchdowns, and then you would still win 1.7 units if he just scores a touchdown, which is still a great return for your money. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, if I have any other plays, they will be in the pinned comments down below, and I will also be posted to my Twitter account, which will be in the description. The link for my Twitter will be in the description down below in this video. So that's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.